Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday. Thank you all for being here. Ooh, grand rising to you too, Kimberly. What? And truth and second chance. Welcome to the space. I know I've never said that before, and I don't think I have. But welcome to the space. It is a beautiful day, Commander. I see you. Welcome to the space. Let us begin. We're gonna talk about fear just a little bit so that you comprehend what is happening, so that when you deal with fear you will know what to do, because we all experience it, correct? Each and every one of us experience it at some point in our lives. But if you can grasp why it is there and how to apply the principles in that moment, everything changes in your favor. Now, we have eyes, ears, nose, mouth, taste, touch. It is what helps us to navigate where, okay? This is why we've labeled things. There's a there's a comfort in labeling something, because when you know what is happening, there's peace of mind. Something bad, so long as you know the outcome, there's a peace of mind, there's a safety, right? But when you don't know what's going to happen, that's where fear comes from. Fear comes from the quote unquote unknown. You don't know how it's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know how this thing is going to go down, right? So, because the brain has nothing with which to anchor itself to, because it doesn't know, it feels like it's facing this uncertainty. It feels like it's facing a void, a chasm, if you will. An abyss. You look into the abyss, you're like, oh my God, I don't know what's there. So some sort of panic sets in because you don't know. But here's how you use the principles to know. Because the principles, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender, tell us exactly what is happening at any given time. So even though the naked eye cannot see and the ear can't hear at that time, the principles tell you there's no need to worry. Well, how does it tell you that? It tells you that every cause has it. So if you do this, this is going to happen. You know that when you do something, something happens. You might not know what happens, but you do know, because science tells you, for every action there is a reaction. That is the principle of cause and effect. Okay? So is the principles is telling you, be at peace, because there's nothing that you can do that there won't be a reaction for. So rest assured, something is happening. You're never in a void. You're never in a chasm. There's always safety. There's safety in the knowing. You see, where we get caught up is well, how, Angela? When we stop and ask how, that is your brain's way of trying to put it together so that you can feel at peace. But to rise above that, you remind yourself, wait a minute, every cause has an effect. Now, how do you know what that effect is going to be? Well, look at the principle of rhythm. Rhythm says that it compensates every single time. So if you are, what's the phrase I want to use? The pendulum is going to swing. If it swings 90 degrees to the left, it has to swing 90 degrees to the right. It won't ever go 70 or 60 or 100. No, if it swings 90, it swings 90. Because the principle of correspondence tells us, as within, so without. So you get an idea of the type of thing that will happen. So, you know how people say, well, because you're nice doesn't mean somebody else will be nice. But because we've been taught that there is evil in the world. So not everybody is nice, not everybody is kind. But the principle of correspondence tells you what you are is what you experience. So you see, if you can remember that when you're going through something, oh my God, what's going to happen? I don't know what to do. Ah, yes, you know. You know that desperate times can't call for peaceful measures because then rhythm would be out. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So if you're feeling desperate, you project out of you, because as within, so without, a desperate situation. So you see, you might not know what the situation is, but you can rest assured that it will be one of desperation because that is what you're feeling on the inside. So there's no reason to fear. So if you don't want to feel desperate because you don't want to reap the experience of desperation, what do? You polarize yourself. You what? Polarize. Well, what does that mean, Angela? What do you mean polarize? Mentally, you move yourself from that place of desperation. How do you move yourself mentally from desperation to non-desperation? By remembering, wait a minute, I decide the outcome. I don't want a desperate outcome. So what outcome do I want? One of peace. So when you start to define what it is you want, you are invoking the swing of the pendulum. You are saying, this is what I want. Okay, remember, you don't get what you want, but you get what you are. Squeeze an orange, apple juice can't come out. So what are you? What is your mental attitude? Change that mental attitude, and the thing on the outside changes. So you see, now what was plaguing you with fear has to quell itself because you're no longer in that mental attitude of fear. Why not? Because you are remembering, wait a minute, as within, so without. What is my present mental attitude? And the moment you can recognize, because we like labels, there is security in a label. Why is there security in a label? Because the brain can categorize it and go, oh, yeah, I know what's going to happen here. So thereby you bring about that sense of peace within yourself. So when you know your mental attitude, you can always change it. Because when you look at the mental attitude, you know it. If you say, look, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, somebody gonna catch these hands. You know what you're gonna experience. You know somebody's gonna cross you. Because that's what you got up with that mental attitude in. But if you get up in the mental attitude of, ooh, today is a glorious day. Oh, yes, it is. Get the mental attitude of what you want to become. The mental attitude of orange will give you orange juice. So, what is your present mental attitude? This is why, when the principle of mentalism says the all is mind, the universe is mental, it is telling you that you always know that you are. You always know that you are. And because you always know that you are, there's peace there. Hey, the principles, the effect of the principles is peace. Why would it be peace? Because it tells you when you know what you are, you know what you will be doing. Think about that. You know what you are, so you know what you'll be doing. You don't have to guess. You don't have to hope. You don't have to, oh my God. You don't have to sprinkle. And no seance and no nothing. Why not? Because you know what you are is what you will be doing. This is where peace comes from. So you were always meant to be in a mental attitude of peace. Why? Because you know what you are is what you'll be doing, as within, so without. And then the way you feel is a very good barometer to tell you the expression you will have. So the scripture tells you that a soft answer turns away wrath. A soft answer. So it tells you the person holding the soft answer is the one in control. Because why? The soft answer means there's stillness. There's there's a confidence. But that thing that's there, that's someone who is not sure of their very own selves. So they're grasping, and fear can show itself like anger, you know? So pay attention to your mental attitude, and you will notice, wait a minute, my mental attitude is whatever it is right now. What you name it. I don't know what it is. You know, because you're in that body. You're observing the world. So time to recognize the attitude, not to judge the mental attitude, but to change it at will should you decide to do so. Why? Because when you know the mental attitude, what do you know? You know what you're going to do. So, you know, the court system, the court of law would tell you, well, this was premeditated. Premeditation is somewhat different from manslaughter. Manslaughter means you were just going through the damn ... that it just popped off. You didn't plan it. But everything is premeditated. Oh, premeditated. You thought about it before. This is where the mental attitude comes from. You thought about that thing before. You have entertained it before. But you didn't just entertain it as a one-off. Oh no, this is what separates the difference between, because premeditation and manslaughter, they are the same. They're not different, because look at the outcome. Look at the outcome of premeditation and manslaughter. It's the same thing. So, what got it there? Consistency got it there. Persistence got it there. So, the mental attitude arises and you engage with it. You saturate yourself with it, right? It becomes a habit. You are thinking this way and feeling this way and speaking this way and walking this way. You've given into that. The other way, you kind of sort of, but you didn't really commit to it. It was just come and go, you know. It was kind of like, you know what? If this ever happened to me, I would react like this. And you set that down and you said, if this happened, I would do this. They're both the same. It's just that one of them has a higher degree of intensity. Do you know which one has the higher degree of intensity? Premeditation has the higher degree of intensity. Manslaughter has a lower degree of intensity. How do you know which one is more intense? Look at the outcome. So when you see that, because that's what's happening in the real world, like when that's the real world, but when you go out there in society, the law is always at work. And if you look, you will see it. So when you are afraid, we did a song in church way back in the, when I am afraid, I will trust in you, my God, whose word I praise. In God I trust. I will not be afraid. I will trust in him. I forget which one. I forget which scripture that was, but that's how you used to memorize scripture as a kid, right? You sing. You put it in a song, you'll remember it. Why? Why? Because it feels good and leaves an impression right away. So this is why we remember things when you sing it. You learn your alphabet, you learn the days of the week, sing it. Okay, because that's what we do. Why? Because the brain likes security, and it is secure in what it knows. So that's why when you know the principles, you know exactly how things will turn out. So why should you be afraid? Because the only thing there is, when you hear the principle of correspondence, as within, so without, you you know what is within. You might not know what is within, but you do know that there is something within because there must be something within. What's within? I am within. So as long as you know that as within, so without, there's peace there. There's peace in knowing that rhythm compensates. The level of intensity you move with is the level of intensity in the experience that you get back. So you don't have to know the experience, but if you know the intensity of the experience, because you can feel it, you know what you will get every time. This is why there's no randomness. This is why there's no luck. There's no chance. Listen, if chance existed, you would not be able to go to Vegas and count cards. Because there is no chance. There is a pattern. And if you can see the pattern, that's where the peace is. Everything has a pattern. And all you have to do is observe. Take your time and observe the pattern. You see, in Western medicine, everything has a name. Diabetes, you got a cancer, you got this, you got hypertension, you got anxiety, you got depression. Everything has a name based upon the way it expresses itself. In traditional Chinese medicine, we don't have names. We have an expression. If something is hot, the way to fix it is to do what? Cool it. If something is cold, the way to deal with it is to warm it up. There is always security and peace of mind when you apply the principles. When there is just a name, diabetes, what you gonna do with that? Oh, your sugar levels are high. What does that mean? The presentation of diabetes would be a thirst that you can't quench. It is a wasting thirst. 小渴. That is what it is. So what do you, when you know that there's a thirst you can't quench, you go to the organs that deal with the transformation and the transportation of fluids. And when you go towards those organs that deal with the transformation and the transportation of, you can correct the problem. Why? Because you know the external, which is the presentation, so there's a peace of mind. So there's no fear. Fear because the brain cannot see the outcome. But you know that there is always going to be an outcome based upon the principles. And the way the outcome presents itself is based upon the present mental attitude and the intensity of the mental attitude. So tell me then, why should we fear? There's the principle of mentalism tells us at every moment, you don't have a thing to fear. You don't. Because this is how it is. You don't get the luck of the draw. No such thing. You tell yourself, well, I want to become this. But you see, with humanity and the way the brain works, it likes something to anchor itself to latch on to. So give it something to latch on to. What are you going to give it to latch on to so that you have peace? You tell yourself, wait a minute, as within, so without. What am I feeling within right now? What is the intensity of what I feel within right now? What is my mental attitude right now? Well, then, based on this present attitude, then anything can happen along this line. Anything can happen along the lines of the intensity of the mental attitude you feel. So you are well aware, because when they tell you act a fool, you know what's going to happen. They tell you don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Of course. But what are they going to start? You don't know what they're going to start, but you are saying, based upon how I feel right now in this moment, if you start something, it ain't going to end well. That's how you always know, and that is how you always bring yourself peace. Peace is not something we trip over as we're walking down the stairs. Peace is cultivated from the knowing that what you say you are, you will do. That is where peace comes from. So, do you need to struggle and fight with fear and you think there's shadows? No, you don't. Get into the law and use it. It is very easy to use it. And here's the most beautiful thing about the law. You can only get it. You can only get it right. How so? Because every cause has its effect. As within, so without. It's not as within, maybe you'll get it on the outside. No, it tells you as within, so without. So you are always going to be 100% correct. Not wrong, correct. Why correct? Because the principles tell you. They tell you rhythm compensates. So the amount that I give you is what I will get back. Oh, but Angela, that's not true. I give a lot and I don't get anything back. Then examine the mental attitude from where you give. Examine the mental attitude from where you are giving that thing from. Are you giving because you're giving, or are you giving because if I don't give, I don't get? If I don't give, nobody's going to like me. If I don't give, check the mental attitude, because one does not get the opposite of what they are. If you're getting a particular experience, the mental attitude is bringing it about. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's not a hit or miss. If I squeeze a ruby red grapefruit, I'm going to get me some pineapple juice. Maybe I'll get ruby red juice tomorrow if I squeeze it. No, if I squeeze ruby red grapefruits, I'm going to get ruby red juice. Done. So when you squeeze it, what comes out? Meaning, what's the experience you're having? If you look at the experience you're having, you will clearly see your mental attitude. Now, whether you want to accept your mental attitude or deny its existence, that I would gently suggest that you accept the mental attitude, because one cannot lie to themselves. Oh, you can pretend and you can say as many affirmations as you want to. But if that mental attitude is what it is, then you will get what you get. So you see, at every turn, understand the brain likes to be anchored. Because look at the brain. Who wouldn't be scared locked in a dark room? It's ensconced in a dark space between your ears. The only thing bringing it light is your eyes. All of your senses feed the brain so that it is secure. This is what is happening. Oh, but Angela, what if I was born blind? You have other senses that will feed you the information. But where the eyes may fail and the ears may fail and the sense of taste may be gone, or touch, you have numbness, the law tells you you are never without. You are never without comfort. So when scripture tells you, if I do not go and leave you, the comforter can't come. When you hear that scripture, well, if I don't leave, what does that mean? If ignorance, nocience, does not leave you, meaning, where is the comforter going to come from? Knowledge. What now? The comforter is knowledge. When you recognize that the principles and your application of them will banish fear from your life. There's a difference being afraid and fear. Okay? Afraid is different. If you go up in the mountains and you go walking, you better know that there's a mountain lion, there's a puma up there looking at you. And don't deceive yourself. Oh, he's there all right. With those big padded paws, you will never hear that girl coming till she's ready to let you know she's there. So yeah, when you're in the bush, you should be afraid. Because it's the bush. Why would you know what? Let's not talk about hiking today, because you ain't not gonna catch me in no bush. Okay. No, thank you. I don't go in the bush because I'm snack size. So but being afraid is natural. But fear, on the other hand, is just not knowing and seeking to know. Because that's why the brain would generate these images, because it just wants something to latch onto. The scary movies, when you hear the thing in the house, and you know what I'm talking about, and they talk about, hello, who's there? I'm like, who's there? Get out the house. Who's there? You see, so the brain wants to paint this picture of what could possibly be there, because there is a peace in knowing. And the principles tell you that you always know. Well, Neville Goddard says you could forget. You could forget your name. You could forget where you are. You got lost. Oh my God, I don't know where I'm at. I don't remember my name. Amnesia, right? You can forget those things, but you will know that you have forgotten. You will know that you've forgotten, which means you always know. That is where the peace comes from, the knowing. Comfort comes from knowing. We don't know specifics, but so long as you know the mental attitude and the intensity of that mental attitude, you will know the outcome. Period. So if that's what it takes for us to banish fear, then do it. I strongly suggest that you practice recognizing your mental attitude. Don't just pop off. Know the mental attitude that is running in the background. Well, I don't know what got into me, Your Honor. You see, I always joke with my son, like, if I ask him to do something and he hasn't done it yet, and I was tired of yelling, I've resorted to telling a story. I say, you know what, Your Honor? I don't know what came over me, Your Honor. I don't know. But I just saw him and he didn't do what I wanted, Your Honor, and my hands got a life of their own, and forgive me, Your Honor. And my son looks at me and goes, Ma, I'll get it done. I'm like, oh, how nice. Because sometimes you can't holler anymore. You can't persuade anymore, but you want to paint a picture. Yes. Just paint the picture. Because the picture is going to tell you what the outcome is. So paint the picture. Give yourself the image that your brain can anchor to. This is why imagination exists. Something to be anchored to. You see, at every turn, our security, our safety, our peace of mind, at every turn, it is there for us. It is there for us. And now that you know, what are you going to do with it? Will you apply it? How do you apply it? You apply it by recognizing what your mental attitude is. You could pull a Patti LaBelle. I got a new attitude. Yeah. Know where I'm going and I know what to do. I tidied up, what she say? I tidied up my point of view. I got a new attitude. Yeah, that's what she says in the song. But the song is law. A new attitude brings about a change in the external world. As within, so without. And you are now engaging with the principle of gender because masculine is to come up with the idea. Feminine is the embodiment of the idea, meaning your external experience. So you see where your peace of mind comes from? The knowing. The knowing. Because we all know what unknowing does. We know what uncertainty feels like. But the principles tells you you can always be certain. Well, what can you always be certain of? One, that you know yourself and what you know you'll do. Why? Because as within, so without. Why? Because everything is moving from the inside to the outside. And it moves from one stage to the other, polarity. And in that stage of movement, it has a rhythm, it has a pattern, an ebb and a flow, so you can recognize it. Why? Because every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. Why? Because the idea, which is masculine, starts on the inside. And you know well what is on the inside has to be on the outside. This is why the internal, masculine, will match the feminine on the outside. So the next time you hear that opposites attract, you tell Paula Abdul what you know. You tell her, no, as within, so without. So you must be the same. Right? And who's all here with us kicking it this morning? Because you know your girls got to go. I gotta brush off the car. Let's see what the temperature is, Miss McQueen, so you can show me your vomit emoji. It's not so bad. Oh, look at how we placate ourselves. It is -8 degrees Celsius. That's not so bad, is it? Well, when you put it in light of -20, I'll take -8, thank you. Oh yeah, it's a little chilly. So, truth and chance, truth and second chance. Welcome, Kimberly. Welcome, Millie Mel. Welcome. Cyber is in the house. I know Miss Tiffany was here on Twitter. Tiffany and Javion, they were here. Yoda Green, he's here in Twitter. It's good to see you, darling. Oh yes, it is. And
This thing is -8 is shootable. You don't know what a -40 or 50, you know?
Ray, I know, right? Oh my goodness. Ray is here with us this morning. Miss McQueen, yes, darling, is here. Big Mike is in the house. Who? Commander, yes, sir, is here. KZ, my sweet as always. Oh, well, look at who it is. If it isn't beautiful ones. Welcome, darling. Welcome to the space. Listen, we are attitude you have is the experience you will have. Yes, it is. Well, what you squeeze is what you get. What don't oranges teach us? Man, look, do you think that fruit doesn't have a lesson to teach us? Come on now. Queen Mo was in the house. Um, let's see who's here. Exactly. Desperate times can only call for desperate measures because as within, so without. Unless, of course, you move yourself. And the way to move is mentally. You have to change the mental attitude from desperation. How do you change it? Well, Angela, I don't know. This situation has got me pressed, Angela. I am pressed. My back is against the wall. I don't know what to do. You simply ask yourself a very important question. What would you be doing if that thing were no longer there? What would your attitude be? How would you walk into a room? How would you talk? How would you behave if that thing wasn't there? Why? Because when you begin to answer the question, well, you know what? If that thing wasn't bothering me, I'd be doing this. My day would go like this. I would be doing that. Girl, let me tell you, I'd be doing this. You see, when you start to do that, now you have polarized yourself mentally in the direction of the outcome you want to experience. But remember, it's not just a one day at a time. It's not just a one day thing. It is a lifetime thing, meaning you do it every day. Why do you do it every day? Why do you rehearse who you want to become? Because when you rehearse who you want to become, you perform what you become. Hello? Can I say that to you again? When you rehearse what you want to become, well, how do you rehearse it? By seeing it in your mind's eye and practicing the mental attitude of it. A confident person has a very particular mental attitude. Oh, yes, they do. So get that mental attitude and you start to rehearse it. Where? In your mind's eye, because then you'll start to see what you're becoming. And because now the brain is at ease, because you know how the brain is, because it is at ease with you and that image that you're forming, and you say, this is what I'm becoming, and you practice it and you practice it and you practice it, well, then the outcome of practice is what? Performance. Well, how do you know? Well, I'm sure at least at one point in our lives, we've all been to a concert. We've all been to a game. And what do you think they do? Practice. So it's not far fetched that what you rehearse, you perform. You see it every day. So, what are you going to practice? The mental attitude of who you want to become. The mental attitude is masculine, it is invisible to the naked eye. And the more you rehearse it, it has to take shape on the outside, becoming feminine. Feminine just means what? To take on the shape and form of that which was once invisible. The embodiment is feminine. Yes, not male, female. We're not talking about male, female. We're talking about mental activity, not physical, mental. That's why masculine is invisible, which is the idea, and feminine is what that idea took the shape of. It can only take the shape of what is already within. So you get it now what to do. Yes? Good. Anywho, I love you. I'm gonna go start the car. Start the car. Sorry, IKEA, but you know what? I digress. Start the car, shovel the walk, and on the road again. You know how it is? The chickens have already been fed, let me tell you. And he is so sweet this morning. Oh, yes, giving me the side eye, and the moonlight is shining in their window. Oh, they are too sweet. Anywho, you know that I love you. You know that I love you. Day in and day out, I tell you. Well, I'd like to presume that my actions do speak louder than my words do. But, you know, my words will match the actions, yes? Anywho, countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Love to all, everywhere. Truth and second chance. Ow. It is great to see you. Anywho, Commander. I'm the presence I know. Go forth today and understand, comprehend why fear happens. And now that you know how to banish fear from your life, do it. Okie dokie. And if you still feel a little stuck, slide into my DMs. Okay. But I think after this moment, you shouldn't be. But then again, we all know that we are never stuck, are we? We can't be stuck because the principle of vibration tells us everything moves, nothing stands still, so you cannot be stuck. You keep repeating the same thing over and over again, feeling like you're stuck, but you're not. You get the drift. Anywho, I love you. I honestly love you. I just, You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here at the crack of dawn and just spending time with each and every one of us, you know? Ugh, what a beautiful day it is. All right, y'all. Parting really is such sweet sorrow, and you do know I can chat all day long if you let me. As my grandmother would say, the duck pick your water. Oh! I never understood what that meant as a young child, but I do now. Meaning the water is troubled. There's no peace. Thus, one should always be chatty. That's what she always said to me as a young girl. Little did she know, but I think she understood. I think she understood. Anywho, peace out, y'all. Love you.